Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Illinois students, sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. Today's program is an information session and opportunity to learn more about Johnson & Wales University. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot hear or see you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at IACAC.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, IACAC.org. Now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters. Thank you and enjoy.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm just going to start my share real quick. There we go. All right. Hopefully we can see it okay. My name is Brittany. Some of you I might have met, I'm not sure. A lot of my students will call me Chef Brittany. I am from Johnson & Wales University. I'm the local admissions rep for Illinois, and I also cover Wisconsin. I have Lisa on with me tonight. Lisa covers a lot of different states, but she's gonna help us with any questions as they come along. Just to get going, if you don't mind going in the Q&A and putting in what major you're interested in, that would be great so we can kind of know as we go along. Again, Johnson & Wales University, if you've never heard of us, we do not have a campus in Illinois or even the Midwest. We actually have two campus locations. First one's Providence, Rhode Island. That's where I went. And it is about an hour south from Boston. It's about a 3-hour drive north from New York City. It's our largest campus. We have around 6,700 students there. If you can see on the screen, you'll see downtown Providence, which is not as big of a city as like Chicago or St. Louis, but it's easy to get around. And this green space down at the bottom is actually our campus. We actually have the largest green space in Providence, but it's great because it's near the train station. So I could take the train down to DC, Philadelphia, New York City. It's also near the bus station. So I could take the bus up to Boston or parts of New England, like going on a ski or snowboarding trip in Vermont, New Hampshire. Up at the top center, you'll see our Cuisinart Center for Excellence. That's where our culinary and baking and pastry students will take their classes. It's about 2 miles south from downtown on Narragansett Bay, and you can see it overlooks the water. So great new facility for our students at the Providence campus. It's a very diverse campus in Providence. We have around 6,700 students total. I know I loved going to school with students from across the country, but also we have a lot of international students. So it was neat to have friends from Ireland and the Bahamas going to class with me. So really nice to have that diversity. Our other campus is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is a little bit warmer than the Providence campus, but still not as, Providence is still warmer than Chicago, in my opinion. But it is right downtown in the uptown area of Charlotte. And it's right next, if you watch, Bears ever play the Carolina Panthers, it's right by where the Panthers play. So that's pretty cool. And it's a young city, a very diverse campus as well. We have around 1,500 students. When students apply to Johnson & Wales, we typically we do have them apply to one campus, but you're allowed to switch campus while you're a student at Johnson & Wales. It doesn't make a difference as long as your major is offered there, okay? All right, so go ahead,
Speaking
Lisa.
of majors, Brittany, sorry to interrupt, but we have somebody who's interested in culinary and baking and pastries. So
okay,
perfect audience for tonight.
Perfect audience for today. And we'll go through a couple different majors for both of those. So some things that make us a little bit different at Johnson & Wales, we're very much a hands-on approach to our education. I don't know what kind of learner you guys are, but for me, I tend to not do well with just taking notes and taking a test. I like to get in there and learn with my hands and more of the project-based education. So we have a lot of different lab spaces for our students. You can see our criminal justice lab up top. They're breaking down a crime scene for criminal justice in the crime lab. We have baking and pastry students learning. They're getting a demonstration from a famous cake decorator. Down at the center, we have students working on advertisement and marketing for a nonprofit company that's local to near campus. So they're getting real life experience while they're a student. We also have a finance lab. We have a sports and management class lab. So learning for our sports entertainment event management students. We have fashion merchandising. We have a great fashion merchandising lab at the Providence campus. Down in Charlotte campus down here, we have our own garden, so students can learn basically seed to table. And then of course we have at the Providence campus one of our beverage tasting labs. It looks like they're doing a beer tasting right now for our students. All right. We also have small class sizes. This is something I loved. I, was kind of worried sometimes in being a class of 200, 300 people like some universities do, but we actually only have small class sizes. So on average, around 18 students per class. So you get to get through the curriculum a little bit faster. You also get to have more of that one-on-one attention from your professors or your chef instructors. Learning from the best, speaking of chef instructors and professors, they have all worked in the industry that they're teaching in. So the gentleman up top, this is actually one of our criminal justice professors. He used to work in law enforcement in Rhode Island. Our chocolate class is taught by a chocolatier. So you really get to, learn in class, but also learn from their past experiences. And some of them still even own their own business. At the Charlotte campus, one of our chef instructors owns his own food truck, and he brings it to campus every Friday for students to order food if they like to. So that's really cool too. Okay, so they act as mentors, not just in the classroom, but for me, I was kind of confused. Which should I go into? What should I concentrate in for culinary arts? And my professors actually really pushed me that I like the clinical side of culinary, and so that's the path I took. So they helped me with my internships, and they still continue to help me now. One thing that I liked is that we jump into our curriculum right away, your core curriculum. A lot of times schools will take gen eds for the first 2 years. We actually get to take our core classes freshman year. So it keeps you interested and keeps you excited. I also think it's great now that I'm a parent that students get to take core classes their freshman year. So if they tend to not like it, if they decide they don't like it, they're not wasting any time or money on a major, and waiting till their junior year to switch it. We do have over 60 different majors at Johnson & Wales. Yes, we are known for culinary arts and baking and pastry, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today, but we actually have over 60 different majors. So this is our website to check out more of our majors. We have majors in arts and sciences, health and wellness, engineering and design. We have even equestrian at Johnson & Wales. We also have our culinary and baking and pastry, which we call CFIT, and hospitality. And we started as a business school, so we have a lot of different business majors. So it's all on our website if you want to check it out a little bit more. Okay. Now, these are some of our new majors at Johnson & Wales. I'll talk a little bit about sustainable food systems in just a few minutes, but adventure sports, sustainable tourism, so cool. I wish that was a major when I was a student. How cool would that be? So these are just some of our new majors that have started or about to start in the next year or two. Okay, so, that got messed up that's okay. So College of Food and Innovation and Technology program. So we have culinary arts and baking and pastry, okay? So students get to choose between the two. So they will take gen eds, they'll take English, math, biology, because it's still a science degree, but they'll also still take your lab classes. Like if you're a culinary student, you'll take classes in meat fabrication. You'll take French and Italian cuisine, stocks and sauces and soups, service classes, okay? And then you'll even take beverage classes like mixology, beer brewing, wine tasting, coffees and teas. We also have sustainable food systems. So that would be going more into farm to table. This is a new major for us. So if you want to kind of see where the food's coming from, great for students, okay? We also have different careers in sustainable food systems. So it's not just having a farm to table restaurant. It could also go and working for government agencies like USDA. We have something in the US called food deserts, where certain communities don't have access to food easily. They can't drive just down the street to get to the grocery store. So how are we helping those communities? Okay. I just want to give a shout out. If you have Netflix, this Sean Brock, he's one of our alums. He graduated in 2000, and he has a great docuseries. He's on the first season of Chef's Table on Netflix, and he talks about farm to table and growing up in a low, a family that had to really grow their own food and raise their own chickens. And so he's still trying to do that going forward. Applied food science, maybe you want to do food science. That is more product development. Maybe you think of working as a flavorist for Frito-Lay, developing chip flavors for them, or maybe you'll work for Starbucks, developing new coffee drinks for them. Think of your favorite fast food or chain restaurants, okay? Places like McDonald's, Wendy's, Panera Bread, Panda Express, they have different menu items that constantly are coming out, so students can develop that for them. develop those. So pretty cool industry to go into. And it's not just for culinary. Those of you who are interested in baking and pastry, you could even work for like a company like Pillsbury, developing new products for them. This is Donna McCain. It's a great YouTube video about her if you want to check it out on our YouTube channel. But she is the executive performance chef for Clemson University football team. And we have students that have gone on to work for major sports teams too, like the Kansas City Chiefs. Lisa lives in Kansas City, so I have to give a shout out for that. We also have students, former students that are now the chefs for Green Bay Packers and the Milwaukee Bucks and Philadelphia Eagles and the Red Sox and the Dodgers. And Donna's funny in her video because she talks about these big football players and they want to eat kind of junk food. And she's like, let me slowly introduce good food that will taste good but give you better energy when you're out there in the field. So kind of cool going into that. So you could be performance chef like her, personal chef, private chef with our culinary nutrition degree. All right, so I'm going to stop share really quick. We're going to get into the demo side. And hopefully you guys, if you can see my demo table, hopefully it's on, if not, you can pin it, I believe, still on a webinar. So you're welcome to do that. So you can see the cutting board a little bit closer up. So what we're gonna be making today is some gnocchis carbonara. So carbonara is a pretty traditional Italian dish. We're gonna jazz it up a little bit. So first we're gonna start with a little bit of onion. So we're gonna do some knife skills. So I have a chef's knife, and our chef's knife are actually included in our pastry kits and our culinary kits as well, pastry and knife kits. It's part of our tuition, same with our uniform. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold your chef's knife kind of towards the bottom of the onion. I'll show you just in a minute. We're gonna make a cut almost all the way through, but you're gonna stop right before the root, make sure it stays in one piece. See how I made that slice near the bottom of the onion? My next slice is gonna go a little bit higher up. I'm gonna make a second slice just like that. All right, then what we're gonna do is kind of follow the lines of the cutting board. I'm sorry, the lines of the onion going down to the cutting board, but still stopping before the root. The closer your slices are, the smaller the dices will end up being. And then what you have is kind of like a checkerboard. You have cuts going this way, cuts going that way. Next step is to go straight down through that checkerboard. And then you create a nice dice. If any of you ever cry when you're cutting up onions, a sharp knife will help, but also getting the onion a little cold, put in the fridge for a little bit. Don't freeze it. You can put in the freezer for a little bit, but you don't want to completely freeze it because that would be tough to get cut through. But if it's cold, you won't cry as much with it. So we're going to put this into our prep bowl over here. In culinary, we have something called mise en place, so everything in its place. All right, there we go. Next thing is a little bit of garlic. So 1 clove of garlic. I'm making a single serving of this, okay? So if I was making it for my whole family, I would add more to it. We're gonna take the heel of the chef's knife, put it over the garlic clove, take the heel of your hand, give a little pop, and the skin will just pop right off, okay? We're gonna mince the garlic first. Mince means nice and small, okay? So it's not these big chunks of garlic in the dish, okay? Now, first thing I wanna kind of go through though, before we start mincing this, is how to hold on to the chef's knife. A lot of us hold on to just the handle like this, but actually most chefs hold on to the blade and the handle. So we're gonna put our thumb right here like this, pointer finger like that, hold on to the rest of the handle. It does feel a little bit awkward, but it gives you better balance and better control. Now, when I'm slicing through this, I'm not gonna hear a lot of noise on the cutting board. Think of your blade as like a rocking chair. I'm just gonna pick up that back heel and I'm just gonna rock through here. Take your time, it's not a race. You pick up more speed as you get more practice with your knife skills. By the way, I'm working from home today. If I was on campus, I would have a head cover. I would also be wearing a face mask, but I am working from my home. I live in Chicago. Next, we want to mince it. So hold the top of the blade like this. We want to just chop up and down, back and forth. Keep nice little pile as you go. Sometimes I'll see students that will have like their fingers like this when they're mincing it. Don't do that. Sometimes I'll even see them put their pointer finger up on the top of the blade. Don't do that either. So keep it nice and tucked back like that. And we're just going to chop up and down, back and forth. So a little background about myself. I grew up in Aurora, Illinois, so just outside of Chicago. My grandparents used to own a Greek diner. So I've always been around food and cooking. Around my junior year of high school is when I decided I want to be a chef, and my parents were actually not too happy. But I started working in kitchens as a dishwasher, as a prep cook, and then went off to Johnson Wales in Providence after I graduated from high school. There's different options, like I said, but I started with my first 2 years in culinary arts. I love baking and pastry, by the way. I did cake decorating. I'm really good at eating pastries, but for me, I'm not good at measuring things, as you'll notice during the demo. So I prefer to do more of the culinary. And if you want to just be an executive chef, like a pastry chef or executive chef, we do have just bachelor's degree in culinary and then baking and pastry, okay? And we also have business too for your last 2 years if you want to go into running your own bakery or owning your own bakery or food truck or a restaurant, okay? All right, so I put a little bit of kosher salt on top of my garlic. Any salt will work if you don't have kosher salt. We're gonna take this minced garlic and turn it into a garlic paste, okay? So I'm gonna put my blade on the side. I'm gonna pick up that pick up the blade of the knife, there's where I go. And I'm just gonna slowly press down through that pile of garlic. And what I'm doing is I'm mashing this up and turning this into like a garlic paste, okay? And I love this for quick pan sauces. It's also good if you've ever had like a gyro before, like a Greek sandwich with tzatziki sauce. This is great to add tzatziki sauce. The paste is also great for making homemade garlic bread if you want to put it on some fresh French baguette with a little bit of butter in there, a little bit of salt, maybe a little bit of Parmesan cheese. You can make, I hope I'm not making you all too hungry, but you can make it a great garlic bread as well. And then it slowly just kind of works through here and mashes this up, okay? And there we go. And I'm gonna move this off to the side. I'm gonna move over my burner so you guys can see the cooking as well. There we go. It looks like it's nice and even. All right, so we're gonna start with kind of low, medium heat, okay? And my first ingredient in my pan is gonna be pancetta. Pancetta is like an Italian bacon, okay? The difference between pancetta and our American bacon is it's not smoked like our bacon here in the US, okay? You can find it by the deli area. You can even ask at the deli counter where you get your turkey and ham sliced up for them to slice you off a thick piece of pancetta and you can cube it yourself. But it's a little bit more expensive than bacon. So if you can't find it, you can also use a thick cut bacon, okay? And this comes from the pig, the pork belly. And if you do not eat pork or you're vegetarian, you can also simply just use turkey bacon or just skip the meat altogether, but just use a little drizzle of olive oil into the pan, okay? Excuse me, I'm just taking a sip real quick. Okay, so we want to take the fat in here, take it from a solid to a liquid. And I'm gonna add a little bit of my onions in here too. Traditionally in Italy, we actually don't put onions in this dish, but I think it adds a really good flavor to it. So I like to add my onions in there. And the onions are gonna cook in that pancetta fat that will turn nice and crispy as well, okay? All right, so yeah, after I finished my 2 years in culinary arts, my associates, I then got into, which is now our dietetics and applied nutrition program at Johnson & Wales. So after graduation, I moved back to Chicago and I did my dietetic internship at Loyola University of Chicago, which then allowed me to work in hospitals. So the beginning of my career was actually working in hospitals, counseling patients with diabetes, heart disease. I worked in the NICU with the little babies that were born premature. I did research with Alzheimer's patients and their food intake. I then worked for a children's hospital in Chicago, running their food department for their patients. Any guests that would be family members that would be visiting our patients, and then also our staff that worked in the hospital. I even got to intern with Wilton, which is a cake decorating company based in Illinois as well. So that was super fun too, okay? All right.
You've done a little of everything.
I've done a little bit of everything. I've also done some personal chef stuff where I work for families. I cook their meals, do all their dishes, leave everything in their fridge. I charge $40 an hour to do that when I did that. I also did like fun cooking parties with friends, and I would charge $150 to do those cooking parties. So it's more than just being a chef in a restaurant. There's really cool things out there in the industry. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of my garlic in here. I say little, I'm gonna add all my garlic in there. Who am I kidding? My grandmother was 100% Italian, so we like our garlic in our family. All right, and it doesn't take long for that garlic to cook up. So make sure you don't add that until right before because it burns very easily. It's very bitter tasting when you burn your garlic. All right, so that looks great. I'm gonna turn my heat off. I'm going to add, yes, some green peas into here. And you might be thinking, Chef Brittany, peas, ew, gross. But believe me, I don't like just plain peas, but these are just a little bit of frozen peas in here. You could do fresh peas as well. It's a little bit tough sometimes in the winter, but you can add just a little bit in here, and it adds a pop of color and it adds a pop of sugar, okay? So like we say, give peas a chance, give peas a chance. All right, so I'm gonna put that off to the side. All right, so gnocchis, you can make them fresh. They're basically like mashed potatoes with a little bit of egg and a little bit of semolina flour, Italian flour, sometimes all-purpose flour. I just have mine pre-bought, pre-made at the grocery store. They're about $1.50 for a pound, so it's not super expensive. I have a boiling pot of water on my back burner. They take 2 minutes to cook, so I'm just going to set a timer really quick. I put a little bit of salt in there as well. And while those are boiling, I'm going to help. We're going to start our sauce. Now in Italy, this is actually not really a sauce. It's actually a paste. It's made from egg yolks and cheese, but we're going to turn this, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So best way to crack an egg is on a flat surface. If you crack it on the edge of a bowl or on the side of your saute pan, you're more likely to push the eggshell into, there we go, into the egg. Okay, I'm just going to break this. Oh no. Of course that would happen. I'm going to lift it up just like that. There we go. So I have the bowl underneath just for that reason. We want to separate the egg white from the egg yolk. We go back and forth like that. And you can use this egg white for egg white omelet, whatever you want to. Okay. I'm going to wash my hands very quickly. Even though I'm cooking at home, we still have to watch our sanitation. You got to wash your hands ahead of time. You got to watch out for your safety as well. So making sure you have a cutting board that won't slide around on you, or put a wet paper towel underneath it so it doesn't slide around on you. Okay, so we have this beautiful egg yolk. Next is a little bit of heavy whipping cream. So heavy whipping cream is just like milk, but it has a higher fat percentage, okay? So we're just gonna, you can find it at the grocery store right by the milk. It has like 36–40% milk fat in it. If you can't find it, light cream, half and half, even some whole milk with some melted butter, and it will be a good substitute too. Next is our cheese. This is a little bit of Parmesan cheese. You can use any hard Italian cheese in this dish. You can also use a vegetarian cheese. That tastes really good. Come a long way. I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper. I always say little, but I mean a lot. I love black pepper. So a bit of fresh cracked black pepper. I'm not going to add any salt in here because we already have salty ingredients like pancetta in here. I salted the water for our gnocchis. I also put a little bit of salt in with our garlic. So you have to think about what ingredients have a lot of salt content before you automatically just add salt to the dish, because you can't take it out once you add it. Okay. All right. I can hear my gnocchis are done. So I'm going to go grab these from the back burner real quick. And I'm using gnocchis today, but you could also use some boiled cauliflower florets. That would work good in here. You could use just regular pasta. You could also use some tortellini, some ravioli in here. You can use whatever you want. You don't have to just use gnocchis today. So they're nice and fluffy like that. I'm going to add those into our pan. I wish you guys had smell-o-vision so you could smell what it looks like. Smell what it is like here. A little bit of most of my sauce in there. Now I want really low heat for my burner. And the reason behind that is we don't want to scramble the eggs that are in the sauce. Okay. So what we want to do is just slowly heat that up so it mixes, all together, but it's not scrambling. How you know it's done is it should actually kind of stick to the gnocchis or the pasta, whatever you're making it with. And then you shouldn't have this kind of like runny sauce look at the bottom. Now flipping food, we'll do a little bit of a flip here, a little sticky from the cheese in this one. But what you want to do if you want to practice flipping food is just take a empty saute pan, put a piece of bread in there, and just practice flipping that bread over. So what do you guys think? Would you make this at home? I'm going to leave my contact information at the end of the presentation. So if you really want the recipe for this, you're welcome to make it at home and just contact me for the recipe. You could add some grilled chicken on top of here. You could also put some crushed red pepper flakes in here if you want a little bit of spice to it. So you could put some shrimp, some Italian sausage. So you could definitely kind of jazz it up more than I did today, but it smells great. And there we go. And everything I found at a local grocery store. So it's not hard ingredients to find. Okay.
It looks
All right.
delicious, Britt.
Thank you. Yes. It smells very good in here. I'm going to turn off my heat and I'm going to share there we go, screen one more time. If you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. I'd be happy to stop and answer them along the way. Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit about that hands-on approach when we're in the classroom, but we also are very big for internships as well. Okay. So instead of taking classes for a semester, we actually have our students go out on an internship. So it could be I did both of mine back in the Chicagoland area. We are across the US and even overseas too. Most of our students are on paid internships, so that's great. And we don't put them on where you're just cutting up onions or filing someone's papers or making coffee for someone. They're actually very hands-on. And a lot of our students actually receive their first job offer from their internship. So that's another nice thing is my first job out of college was actually my internship senior year. I worked at a big hospital downtown. Okay, these are just some of our interns. One of our students, she got to intern down in New York City. So it's, like I said, it's not just on campus. And she worked for a PR firm. Rachel, she worked for Colette, which is a travel agency. So she plans people's travels, which we all hope to get back traveling very soon. And then Victor is one of our recent alums. He works at, he did his internship at Hopkins South Downs, which is about a 40-acre farm in Rhode Island. So we really get to see where the food's coming from. And he got a job offer and works for them now after graduation. So that's really exciting too. So yes, we have internships in the US and some abroad, but we also have a huge study abroad program. We have a lot of international students, which just builds those relationships with study abroad programs. So we went to about 40 different countries last year. So if you want to check it out, our website, global.jwu.edu, you can check out what countries we go to, but we are across the world, okay? And I recently actually came back in March from South Africa. We even run alumni study abroad program. So I did put a couple of pictures up there. This at least is like, so she's like, wishes she could go to it too. But
she did this for me because it is an amazing trip.
It was an amazing trip. So it was a 10-day trip throughout Kruger National Park in South Africa. This is Lee, who's one of the top animal trackers, not for hunting, but for tracking for research. So we got to travel with him on safari treks and even on foot, which made me really scared. This is one of our lioness that was about 10 feet away from me. So that was exciting. We had lots of elephants. This is our stay, our nice camp stay. You can see a little bit of wire fencing just to keep us a little extra safe. Nice fire pit. There's actually my husband taking a picture down here at the bottom of one of the giraffes we ran into. A couple more pictures, but yes, we had an excellent time. And Johnson Wales, man, if you want to travel abroad, we do it right. So, but amazing trip, really good food. The only thing I have to say is they like their meat well done, which is like not for us chefs usually. So, but I ate whatever they gave me, really good spices and amazing food and amazing people there too. Okay. So we, besides just studying, we do have regular clubs to get involved in. We have over 150 student-led clubs, and it's very easy to start a club too if you're interested in starting a club. We have intramural sports, fraternities and sororities as well, so lots to get involved in at the Johnson Wales campuses, okay? We do have residence halls. We require freshmen and sophomores to live on campus, anywhere from single rooms to 4 students in a room to apartment style living. We have gender neutral housing. We are also pet friendly at Johnson & Wales. So if you want to bring your pet to college, there are some restrictions, nothing over 35 pounds. We don't need a massive dog in a small dorm room. No, they're not too small. But yes, if you're interested, it doesn't have to be a service animal. They can just be a pet that comes to college with you. So very exciting. If you want to look more into that, let me know. We do support a lot of student organizations that you might have at your home high schools, FCCLA, Skills USA. We have anywhere from $500 to full tuition scholarship. So if you are involved in those clubs, make sure you put that on your application if you apply to Johnson & Wales. And if you aren't involved and you're still in high school, you're welcome to sign up because it has a lot of benefits to it. We do have athletics for our student athletes that might be on the call with us. We have men's, women's, and co-ed sports at both campuses. And then I do want to click over really quick. If you're interested in sports, this is our Get Recruited websites. For Charlotte's on the bottom, Providence is on the top. Take a screenshot, take a picture of the screen so you can get in contact with campus and coaches. Financial aid, how to pay for Johnson & Wales, or college in general, I should say. We offer a lot of financial aid and scholarships on Johnson & Wales. So 94% of our students receive something. So it's quite a bit, okay? And we offer merit-based scholarships. So based off your high school grades, or maybe even community college grades. So we do give out scholarships in there, and they're renewable. So if you get a $20,000 scholarship, you get $20,000 each year for 4 years, okay? And then we also have national student organizations like the FCCLA, DECA, those ones I mentioned previously. Outside scholarships, I'm going to show you a quick little slide in a little bit about outside scholarships as well. FAFSA, if I have any seniors or our FAFSA code is 003404. It is the same code for both campuses, for Charlotte and Providence. So don't worry if you're filling it out and you see Providence only, it's for Charlotte as well, okay? And then make sure you get that done October 1st of senior year. Make sure you get it done earlier than later, okay? And this is the scholarship research I was talking about. These are free websites to search for scholarships. You guys, there are scholarships for everything, for being short, for being tall, for being a left-handed writer, first generation college students. So look for scholarships. Even if it's only $500, it's worth your time to apply for those scholarships, okay? It should be almost like a part-time job. I can't tell you how many students come to me and say, Brittany, I need more scholarships. And it's like 2 months before college starts. I'm like, did you apply to any? And they're like, oh no, I didn't have the time. Make the time to look for scholarships. It's well worth it. Visiting Johnson & Wales. I know it's hard during COVID to visit. So we do have a full website just dedicated to visiting from the comforts of your home, explore from home. We have Tuesday talks with different topics about college in general. We can talk to financial planners. We have specific virtual calls about health and wellness programs or culinary arts. So if you're interested in that, please check that out. We even have virtual cook-alongs for those of you who are culinary pastry on the call. So they're usually in the evenings or on Saturday around 11 in the morning, so you can sleep in a little bit. But you choose between pastry and culinary. We send you a grocery list, and then students for about an hour and a half will cook with chefs on campus. So if you're interested in that, check it out, jwu.edu/explore from home. So very cool website. And we do have some in-person visits going on as well. And just like whatever college you might be looking at, you should definitely have an appointment set up. It is limited because of state regulation, so just keep that in mind. But we do have some in-person tours going on our both campuses, okay? So if you're interested in that. Application process, we have no fee for our application process. We're on the Common App. You can apply on our website. We also have paper applications we can send you if you prefer that. Send in high school transcripts. They don't have to be official transcripts. If you have copies of them, you can upload them to your application portal. ACT, SAT tests, we are test optional. We actually always have been, which I love because, like I said, I'm not a good test taker. So if you have it though, you want to set it in. More information we know about you, the better. If you already have a personal statement or an essay or letters of recommendation, not required, but if you would like to send them in or upload them, we'd be happy to see more information about you. Our early action deadline is actually coming up. That's November 1st. And those students will actually just hear a little bit earlier from us with a decision. So when you hear back from us with a decision, you'll hear back about scholarships as well. So that should be coming up around mid-third week of November, we're hoping, okay? And then regular deadline is March 1st for our students. So if you have AP classes as well, send those to us. If you have questions, we'll put my contact information up as well. Okay, and this is our website, apply.jwu.edu for our application on our website. It's very easy, doesn't take too long to fill out, okay? We are on all the social media, so if you're interested in learning more, I'm on Twitter. I'm gonna put my Twitter and Instagram account on the last page, but if you have questions, please let me know about that. If you're interested in Johnson & Wales and you're not receiving any information, or if you want specific information about a major or one of our campuses, please take a screenshot or take out your camera on your phone, go over with the QR code, or just text the word Wildcats to 75192, or you can go on our website and request for more information as well, okay? And then here is my information. My email and just sending me a text message is the best way to get a hold of me. Chef Brit JWU is my Instagram and my Twitter. So if you like to follow me, it's basically, Lisa's laughing, it's basically just recipes. So if you love food, I post a lot of different recipes on there, and I'm making different videos of different recipes as well. I laugh, I have my video, going, and my ring light, and my first grade son thinks we're going to be the next YouTube stars. So I have to laugh at that one. But yes, it has a lot of fun information if you're interested. Okay. And any questions at all, please put them in the Q&A if you have any questions.
Yes, please put your questions in and we'll get them answered.
So I thank you all for coming. I know this is a really tough time, so we appreciate you being here. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a text message with those or an email, and I'd be happy to get back to you right away. Okay. All right. And I'm going to stop share. And I think we have a couple closing announcements. Oh, and there's my 2-year-old.
All right, perfect timing then. That was such a fun presentation. Thank you so much to Johnson & Wales and Brittany for sharing that information. And thank you students for joining us this evening. When you close the window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this was just one of many different sessions that are being hosted. So be sure to sign up for additional sessions at iacac.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session and many other sessions available, as well as other opportunities to connect via iacac.org. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Good night.